everyone. We are on day 2 of statistics. We are still going to be finding the mean, median, mode, and range of a set of data, but the data is just going to look a little bit different than it did yesterday. So if we look at the first question here, it says Maddie wanted to determine whether 8th grade boys or 8th grade girls can run faster. She decided to do an experiment where she randomly selected 9 boys and 9 girls to run 1 mile. He recorded the time in seconds of each runner and then plotted the results of her survey. So if we look at these 2 dot plots, I have one that represents the boys and one that represents the girls. So again, this is just another way to express the data. So each individual dot, if we're just looking at the boys graph for right now, each individual dot represents 1 runner. So there are a total of 9 dots, which means there were a total of 9 boys in this experiment. And each dot represents their individual time. So I see just 1 dot on top of the 420. So that means just 1 boy ran a 420-second mile. Then there are 2 dots on top of the 430. So that means 2 boys ran a 430-second mile. And then there are 3 dots on top of the 440, which means 3 boys ran a 440-second mile, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what we need to know about dot plots is that each dot represents 1 runner. Okay, so I wrote on top of each graph the set of data that we were used to seeing yesterday. But I'm not going to do that for all the other ones. That was just as a way to explain further how to read a dot plot. So we're still going to be finding, like I said, the mean, median, mode, and range, but it just looks a little bit different than yesterday. So if we look at the first question, it says, determine the mean, in parentheses, average, for the boys. And we have some helpful hints and tricks to help you remember, again, how to find the mean, median, mode, and range. So if you remember from yesterday, in order to find the mean or the average, we have to add up all the data points on the boys graph and then divide by the number of points. Because remember, we add up all the numbers, then we divide that sum by however many numbers we added together. So in this case, I had a total of 9 data points. So I'm adding up all 9 of those numbers first. Then I will be dividing by 9. So when I do this, the first number we are adding is 420 plus 430. And again, there are 2 dots on top of the 430, so I am adding the 430 twice. Then there are 3 dots on top of the 440, so I am adding 440 3 times, and so on and so forth. Okay, now again, since I'm adding together 9 numbers, I will be dividing by 9. Okay, so when I add up all of my dot points, we should get 3,960. And then again, I'm dividing by 9. And when I divide by 9, I should get 440. So my mean or my average mile would be 440 seconds. Okay, now we want to determine for question 2 the mean average for the girls. So now we're looking at the second dot plot, that says girls on top. So again, each individual dot represents 1 runner. So I wrote all of the values on top of that dot plot that we can refer to. But again, there are a total of 9 dots on that graph, so I know that there were a total of 9 girls running that mile. So as always, I have to add up all of the numbers on my dot plot. So there was 380. There were 2 dots on top of 390. So again, I add 390 twice, and so on until I have added up all of the numbers. Okay, and then again, there were 9 runners, so I'm dividing all of that by 9. When I add up all of the data points, I should get 3,600, and again, I'm dividing that by 9. When I divide by 9, I should get 400. So my mean for the girls should be 400 seconds to be exact. Okay, now there are a couple of comparison questions, just like we looked at yesterday. So for number 3, it says, how do the means compare for boys and girls? So guys, all we have to do is just read each of those answer choice and see which one's true. We know what both of the means are, so I don't have to do any more math here. Just got to see which answer selection is correct. So choice A says the means are the same. Well, that's not true because the mean for the boys was 440 and the mean for the girls was 400. So I know choice A is not correct. Okay, choice B says the girl's mean is less than the boy's mean. Well, that's true. The girl's mean was 400 and the boy's mean was 440, and 400 is less than 440, so I know that's correct. But let's just double check the rest of them. The choice C says the girl's mean is greater than the boy's mean. Not true. And neither the girls nor the boys have a mean, and I know that's not true. So choice B is my correct answer. Okay, second question. Again, is another dot plot. And again, it says Maddie wanted to determine whether 8th grade boys or 8th grade girls can run faster. She decided to do an experiment where she randomly selected 9 boys and 9 girls to run 1 mile. Okay, so we have dot plots again. But now question 4 wants us to calculate the median for the boys. Now remember what the median is. The median is the middle number. Now in order to find the median number, I have to follow a 2-step procedure. And the first step was to place my numbers in order from least to greatest. But this is the nice thing about dot plots is dot plots are kind of on a number line here. So they do go in order. So I can actually see my data points that already are in order from least to greatest. But I'm still going to take the time and write them out in a straight horizontal line so that I can easily figure out which data point is going to be in the middle. So again, right now I'm just looking at the boys. So my first number is 420. Then I have 430. And again, I have 2 dot points on top of that 430. So I need to make sure that I'm writing 430 twice. Same with 440, but instead of writing all that only twice, I'm writing it 3 times because there are 3 dot points. Okay, so all of my numbers now are in order from least to greatest. So now again, remember I want to find that middle number. So we cross off numbers on each end till we get our way to the middle. So I cross off 1 on the left, 1 on the right, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, 1 on the left, 1 on the right. Okay, as you see, I crossed off 4 numbers on the left and 4 numbers on the right. And I have just 1 number in the center, which is 440. So my median is 440. Okay, now for number 5, I want to calculate the median for the girls. So I do the same procedure. I place my data points in order from least to greatest. So I first have 380, 390, okay, and again, I'm going to cross out numbers on both sides till I get to the middle. So I'm first going to cross off 380, then 420, then 390, then 410, and I keep going till hopefully I just end up with 1 number in the middle, which I do, which was 400. So my median for the girls is 400. Okay, then again, we just have a comparison question where we are comparing the 2 medians for both the boys and the girls. So we just read them each answer choice carefully and make sure we select the one that is correct. So choice A says the medians are the same. Well, that's not true. The median for the boys was 440 and the median for the girls was 400. So A is not correct. The median for the girls is less than the boys' median. Absolutely correct. I know choice B is going to be my answer. All right. I think we'll do one more together. Again, same dot point, so I'm not going to sit there and read that question again, but we're still talking about 8th grade boys and 8th grade girls running the mile. For number 7, we now want to find the mode for the boys. And now remember, to find the mode, we're finding the number that has the most points, a number that that occurs the most often. So with dot points, it's simple. You just have to look at the number that has the most dots drawn on top of it. And we're first looking at the boys. And if I look at the dot point for the boys, the most dots I have on a number are 3 dots, and that's on top of the 440. So my mode in this case for the boys is going to be 440 because that is the number that appears the most. It occurs 3 times. Okay, so I know that is my mode. Now I want to look at the mode for the girls. So now I'm looking at the girls' dot point. And again, the most dots that I see on top of a number, there are 3 dots. Those 3 dots are located on top of the 400, which tells me that 400 occurs the most. So my mode for the girls is going to be 400 because, again, that occurs 3 times. Okay, and then last but not least, we're just comparing the modes again for this set of data. So it says, how do the modes compare for boys and girls? The modes are the same. That is not true. The girls' mode is greater than the boys' mode. Again, not true. And the girls' mode is less than the boys' mode. Excuse me. And that is correct because the girls' mode was 400 and the boys' mode was 440. So I know my answer choice, excuse me, is choice C. Okay. For the next couple of questions, you should be able to try them on your own. We will have the answer key to the rest of the questions on Google Classroom, so you can try them and then check your solutions with the answer key. If you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us.